Hello and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going discussing our silage so far. So we have our silage done and we have it in the yard. It's just over in that direction. You might have seen it already, but what I'm going to go through this video is, we done silage, but did we do full-on silage or did we do 50-50? If you remember my last video where we're going to do our 10-acre silage field, where we're going to do it half and half, that half of it would have been silage and the other half would have been hay. So what did we do? Did we go full-on silage in the silage field? Did we do 50-50? Did we get hay at all? Sort of all that business. Just discuss basically the questions we asked in that last video. This video has all the answers to those questions. I guess, yeah, you might be seeing quite a lot of bales, and also stacked 3 high but concrete slab, and nowhere near any drains or anything like that, or waterways. So there's no worry about effluent runoff going into drains or water courses affecting all that sort of business. So we have, we have the phone here, we have 64 bales. That was from silage season 2024. That starts from this bale all the way down, and on the second row, the third row, is this year's silage that we baled there this year. So from this bale that's facing that way, flat edge, and the second line up is all of last year's bales, and there's 64 of them left, which will be the ones that we'll be using first. We'll be hoping to use last year's ones first, so it's the 64 here that's on the slab, and whatever we have on the sand here, which is 22 of them on the sand. So we'll be hoping to use up all of them as well. They're last year's bales as well, so they'll have to be used up first, because there is a drop of water in them, so they won't last too much longer if we decide to just keep them until next year. They basically have to be used up as soon as possible, because when we baled them ones, we were sort of rushed that week with rain and stuff, so it didn't really get much time on the ground to wilt or anything like that. So they're a bit sort of wet and heavy of themselves. But anyways, first things first, yes, we baled all our silage field in silage. We baled it on Friday the 20th of June. And wait for it. Before I say it, leave down in the comments how much silage bales do you think we got this year on our silage field. I forgot to show you the crop in the last video, but trust me, it was a very, very heavy crop. I think that explains it all. So we'll see, you have all them bales there going across that way, 3 high, and then starting about halfway up the slab there, so that's not too bad. So how many bales did you think we got this year? So on the Friday the 20th of June, when we done our silage on our silage field, we got 139 bales. That's why they're stacked 3 high, because if we stacked them 2 high, they wouldn't have all fit on the concrete slab, and then we'd have to stack them down the field, which we did one year, but we were absolutely bogging and guttering up the field and bringing that gutter then into the farmyard, and it was just a cod. It was an absolute cod. Waste of time, just mucking about and slobbering. So and we didn't want to put anything on front of these bales, which we could have put another couple of rows, maybe somewhere out to that tree there just before it. But again, as I mentioned, those bales were baled in the summer of 2024, and we want to get them used up ASAP this winter, and now with the other ones that's on the concrete slab. So if we put stuff in front of them, we wouldn't been able to get at them to use them up, which we need to use them up because there's a drop of water in them and they won't last too long that wise. So yeah, 139 bales. Now what you're seeing there isn't exactly the whole 139 silage bales that we baled on our silage field, because there was 2 other fields that we cut. We cut a field beside our silage field which is 6 acres, and then we cut another field at the back of our house beside where the wainlands are that just went beyond grazing, which was about 3 acres. So in total we cut another 9 acres upon the 10 acres of our silage field. So we got about 20 acres of grass cut, baled and wrapped up, but we managed to get haylage. Now the 6 acre field that's beside our silage field was also quite long and just was gone beyond grazing. There's one part of it at the bottom of the hill that we left for grazing because the quality of that silage just wasn't the best and the butt wasn't the best, so we might just leave that little patch there for cattle to graze. But the rest of the field that we cut, baled and wrapped up, the grass quality and the butt on it was a-okay. So on the 6 acre, well, I don't actually know which one is which, or I don't know how many we got off each field. I just know the total of what we got. So we got 81 haylage bales. So altogether, between the 64 bales from silage 2024 that's on the slab, the 22 bales that was from silage 2024 that's on the sand, with the 139 silage bales we got this year and the 81 haylage bales that we got this year, we have a grand total of 306 bales. So between every bale here on the concrete slab and on the sand, there's a grand total of 306 bales. So we could nearly forget about doing silage next year for 2026 because we'd probably still have a load. Now the plan was either to sell a few of the silage bales that we baled this year or a couple of the haylage bales that we baled this year, but that's when we were only planning on stacking them too high and we'd have some bales left over and all that. We didn't know what to do with them, but then we decided, sure, we can stack them 3 high within rules and regulations, where we're still within the rules and regulations to stack 3 high. So we decided to keep all the haylage bales, which the haylage bales will last, hopefully, ideally, in an ideal world, they will last that little bit longer than silage bales. But yeah, the father got our International 674 and our hay bob, which hadn't been in action for years now. The last time we were using that was the time we got hay. And here is the machine in question, the hay bob. Now obviously with the hay bob, you have the setting that it's in now, which is the outside hole, and you have an inside hole here. So when it's on the outside hole, what you do is you just push them in. There's a spring on it, you push it up and then let it go, and it goes into one of the holes, whatever hole you want it in. We had it on the outside hole, which is the setting for shaking out or tedding. So we used this to shake out, but we didn't use it to wind row it up. Now our new contractor was the one that done our silage this year, the 139 bales that we got from our 10 acre silage field, and it was the brother that baled the haylage bales for us in those 2 fields. So he used our old contractor's Maxim 5130 and the baler, and I raked it up with our old contractor's 398 and his rake, which obviously I do use every year for silage. So we basically use the setup that me and the brother use when we're out doing our old contractor silage or going out on a job. The brother was on the 6280 front loader, double bale hand on the back. Depending if there was someone there to put him out on the road, he would have brought 3 bales. If he was getting out on the road by himself, he would only brought the 2 bales. The father had our International 674 and our single bale handler here, so he was bringing 1, and I had the 398 and a single bale handler. And what I was doing was drawing the bales from the far end of the field, and I was drawing them up to the gate of our silage field. So when the brother or the father came back, there was a bale just right there in front of the gateway, so all they had to do was pick it up and then try and get out onto a busy road on a Sunday, and then away. They didn't have to drive across our silage field and then go into the other field and pick up a bale and whatnot. But I'll show you what I mean when we go over there. But yeah, they were bringing either three or four bales at a time. If the father and the brother were heading out on the road at the same time, the father would let the brother out onto the road, and the brother would be bringing 3 bales then. If the father and the brother weren't there at the same time, then the brother would have to bring 2 bales and get out on the road by himself. And here is the field in question, one of the fields that we baled for haylage. So the whole field here is approximately in and around the 6 acre mark. Obviously we didn't cut or bale the 6 acres because you can see there's some greenage around us. So what we're going to do with all this grass is graze it off, because it just wasn't the best quality grass. The bit that we cut and baled was the better quality out of the whole lot. Just that the actual grass here itself and the butt within the grass just wasn't really up to standards. So we'll try and graze as much of it off as possible, and then top it maybe and let some fresh, newer, younger grass grow in its place. But anyways, you can see that this is what we baled. Now the reason that we did cut this field and the other field where the wainlands were is because it was gone beyond grazing. It was around the same sort of height as this grass here, but obviously the further into the field you got, the more plentiful the grass was obviously. So we'll give you a rough, that's basically what well, it's lying down now because it made an awful amount of shower by the time we got this baled to when I'm making the video now. But you know, there was a nice cropping of grass in it. You can kind of see there that that's not really the best of quality. The bits that we cut were better, and as I mentioned, the further up the field you went in that direction, the better butt and grass there was. Now we could have cut that and baled it and wrapped it, but we were afraid that when we were trying to get haylage out of it, so when the brother mowed it, I think we left it then for a couple of hours, and then that evening the father came out with the hay bob and then shook it all out. Then the next morning he shook it out again, and I can't remember the day we mowed it, but it was getting shook out maybe once or twice a day. Probably one in the morning and then another one then possibly in the evening. But yeah, so we mowed it and then we left it a full day, and then I think we mowed it on the Friday, and we shook it out then on probably Friday evening-ish. We shook it out again at some point during Saturday, and then obviously, as I mentioned early on in the video, we baled it on the Sunday. We baled it on the Monday. Conditions during that week, as I'm recording the video, it was about just a couple of days back, weather was outstandingly good. I mean, I think we were getting a couple of days of a heat wave at that point, and then obviously the weather has kind of turned, but that's just Ireland for you. But if we didn't manage to get haylage out of it, we would have wrapped it up for silage. What it matters really. But if we left that any longer, if we left that until Monday was a bad day, it would have gotten wet. But if Monday was a good day and we left it until Monday evening, which is when the brother would have came home from work, it probably wouldn't have made good haylage, because it would have been gone to just pure 100% hay. But the time that we baled it at was just perfect timing. It made absolutely the best of haylage. obviously haylage being borderline between silage and hay, just sort of in between that. But you can see we have an old track there we could go in and out of, and we made our own track here that we went in and out of the field. And as I mentioned, the father was drawn to the farm from the field to the farmyard, and the brother was drawn from the field to the farmyard. Now my job was to get the bales from the very far end of the field, and I drove them up our silage field, which is just up that way, and up towards the gate to the silage field, where they just had to come in, drive in and whatever. Now, not because the brother was bringing 2 or 3 bales, I only had a single bale handler doing it. There was an odd time when the father and the brother had to come to this field and start drawing a couple of bales from this field. But other than that, nothing too hectic. We got the bales drawn in. I drew home one of the last bales in this field. I think there would have been 2 or 3 left then for the brother, but that was basically it. So I raked this field first, and the brother baled this field first, and then I went over to the other field and raked that, so the brother baled that second, and then we started drawing the bales from this field first and then the other field second. So yeah, that is that. I don't think there's any much more to say. You can see here the tracks from the couple of hours of drawing that we did from that field all the way cutting up through the silage field. So I basically drove up, and the brother and the father drove up this way to get out onto the road and all that, and I was just basically bringing the bales just the far side of that hill, leaving them relatively close to the gateway, and then obviously all they had to do was just come in the gate, pick up and drive out again. And sometimes they would have to come in the gate, drive the whole way down here into the field, pick up, and then drive the whole way back up there, and then obviously try and get out onto a very busy main road. And now you know our silage situation, our silage unwrapped if you wish. But anyways, what was it, 309 bales, just over the 300 bale mark is not too bad. But yeah, silage and haylage, no hay, but stacked 3 high. Oh my god. Anyways, that is going to be the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Leave down in the comments what you think. Will we need to do any silage next year or haylage with all the bales that we have in total? But yeah, that is it for me. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my merch. The link to that will be down in the description, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.